Chat was first introduced by ICQ in 1996, and it's been added to just about every website out there. And that's a good thing to the point that it's become accepted now. So through our experiences, we know that if you go to a website today, I don't think there's one out there that doesn't have a chat program on there.
Yes.
So people now are chatting freely. They don't feel that it's something that's new and something they have to fear. They're used to Messenger. They're used to Facebook. There's a lot of stuff that's really working well with chat. The downside on chat, of course, is it's almost annoying because chat pops up, it runs across the screen, you click on it, it reappears. We see a lot of visitors, especially early on in a web browsing experience. If that chat comes up and starts bothering the browser, he'll just turn off the whole website and go somewhere else.
Well, I have to agree with you a bit because honestly, I'm a consumer first, even though I work for a company that offers such technology. But, you know, case in point, last night I'm surfing on the internet and I go to this particular website, and, you know, literally less than 10 seconds, I've got a pop-up that asks me, you know, I've noticed that you're on my website, you know, can I help you? And I click the X on it, and 10 seconds later, it comes back up again, different person. And 10 seconds later again, and at that point I said, I'm searching on your website, please leave me alone. Otherwise I'm going to go to a competitive website. So as a consumer, it was a bit annoying for me. But I have respect for the technology at the same time, if it's used right.
So just a warning out there, as we progress, we may not bring this point up again, but I would go to your own website and take a look at the chat. And if it is becoming bothersome, going to the middle of the screen, even though you click off it and it reappears, it is a bothersome thing. It's on the side of your websites, so consumers can click on that when they have a question. And we'll get into timing and when consumers feel more comfortable actually chatting. So you may want to pay attention more to the timing of when that pops up on your website. The first thing that we want to talk about is website conversion. One of the questions that I'm asked all the time, where should websites be as far as getting leads to the unique visitors on your website? Depending on the tools that you have and site visibility, the average is between 1% and 3%. This doesn't mean that that's where you should be. There's many things you can do to increase that, but it's because of the tools that you have.
So what kind of tools are we talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about call tracking where we're actually watching telephone calls coming in, and with chat programs too. So there are various tools that you can use, notwithstanding the lead forms that are on your site and your mobile site as far as visibility and how many leads you're getting off that. So that can increase quite a bit, but the point is that on average, just with lead forms and traditional ways of getting the leads in, it's generally running between 1% and 3%.
Okay.
So one of the things that we noticed, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago, was how many leads are lost because the dealership didn't answer the lead on time, didn't supply the information the customer wanted, wasn't answered in a timely manner. And this is from J.D. Powers, but we also talked to our own dealers, and one of the surveys we did a white paper on it as far as timing and how the leads were answered. And again, it varies from dealer to dealer, but it could be as high as 86% where there is no proper lead response to the dealer.
Yeah, you're right. We did cover this in significant depth about a couple of weeks ago, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's true, and we find that with lead generation, lead forms, a lot of the Canadian dealers right now are struggling with that a little bit as far as timing goes and making sure that it's done in a proper manner. So the other question, of course, that I'm asked all the time is, what is the average between leads converted to appointments, right? And again, within our own dealer body, we strive to go between 20 and 30%. So that's the leads coming in, and that's the fact that we do everything right, and we're able to make an appointment, and it's generally between 20 and 30%.
Vic, looks like we've got already a question, and I think it's in reference to the last slide. Can we just quickly cover that?
Sure.
So the question is from Lane in Halifax. Hi, Lane. Welcome. Thank you for attending. He's saying, are you in the dealer? He's saying, are you saying that dealers will not respond back to a lead in 86% of the time? Isn't that a high number?
We're finding with our white paper, and we had a slide on it last week, where only 0.55% were in the 5-minute range, 5 minutes and less. Another 0.55% were within 6 minutes and 10 minutes. So we have a total of 1% that answered the customer back within 10 minutes.
Wow.
So yes, Lane, it is a high number. Unfortunately, those are the numbers we deal with. Last week we went through that through our lead to turn a lead into an appointment, and that's going to be on our website soon, so you can review that again if you didn't see it last week or 2 weeks ago. But it's very important, and one of the problems, of course, again with lead forms is these things you have to be on top of them all times, right? So you can't miss that. Again, with the beauty of chat, we don't have to worry about that because it's real time all the time, right? So if we look at the numbers that we just said, if we had 3,000 unique visitors, received 90 leads, slow or no response is 40% of them, 56 leads were answered, 12 appointments were made, 6 leads were kept appointments, and out of that we sold 4.5%.
So this is for a what time frame?
This is for a 30-day time frame on a dealer. And one of the things that we want to look at is how do we improve, A, the number of leads and the response time. Of course, it all goes down to appointments and that kind of stuff, right? So, but this is on average what we're seeing where a dealer isn't being trained.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And what we did is we did a study when we had Ralph going out to the dealers and they were being active with it. We wanted to find out best case scenarios and then how to use the product.
Right.
So we put it into 20 dealers. We used 10 as domestics, and we used 10 as imports.
Yeah.
We wanted to see who had the better success rates with it, how the success rates worked. We wanted to know invitations. We wanted to know how the timing worked on it, and what the responses were.
You mean that there was a tangible difference and quantifiable difference between domestic and imports?
Well, we wanted to find out if there was. We wanted to find out if the customers were more sophisticated, whether they're import, maybe they're domestic. So we didn't want to leave anything on the table. We wanted to make sure that
this is right across the country, not just...
This was from Halifax to Vancouver.
Okay.
So we had a good cross-section. We had, 2 in the West Coast. We had a couple in Halifax and a smidgen of Calgary, Winnipeg.
Okay.
And we wanted to get an idea of what was going on out there. So, and these are the questions that we wanted to find out. Did real-time chat improve conversion rate? So we wanted to know if it improved the amount of appointments coming in. We wanted to know if we were able to contact the customer. We wanted to know if the size of the population of the trade area mattered, if they were more successful because there was more people there.
Right.
We want to know if a location specific, downtown, urban, we want to know more about that. We want to know everything that we can as far as how the chat process went, what it had as an effect on the dealer, and what kind of successes we could see later on with it.
I like that question. When would be the best time to invite a chat?
Yeah. And I think that that's really important because we find that, especially if a dealer has a chat button on the side of it, as we said before, the chat popping up all the time is a bit annoying.
Okay. Well, we're also seeing an increase in telephone and chat.
Yeah, which is normal because today people need immediate response, and we forget about that. We all a lot of times we look at that customer as being, on the website, he's not really a customer yet, but in fact, because we're seeing a drop in visitors to the dealership itself, that there's an increase of people on the website looking for answers, needing to talk to somebody, and they look for immediate answers. So they're finding the lead forms sometimes are slow,
yeah,
and now they're looking at chat and they're looking at telephone.
As an immediate response.
As an immediate response. Also, the more mobile gets out there, of course, the more prevalent phone calls become, simply because it's too small to ask, the lead form questions and that kind of stuff.
So your effectiveness of being able to, answer consumer questions immediately is important today.
Yeah, it is very important today. So here's the conversion rate, chat conversion rates. So non-automated chat invitation. So where I don't have something that automatically invites people to chat with me. I was just clicking on a chat button and sending the chat out. The chat success rate was 6.45%. Automated chat invitations, that was sending out chats automatically. I didn't have to man it. It would do a timing on it. I could set the timing on my chat. It would send out an invitation.
So outbound, in other words.
Yeah, these are outbounds. We found with populations over 500,000, it was 8.75 success rate. Whether that means something or not, we found that that was a number, and we found that the smaller the size of the city, the more prevalent the chat was, right? So 100,000 to 500,000 was about 10.25, and populations under 100,000 was 11.65.
Wow. So from your statistic there, does that mean that smaller dealers benefit from this?
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that in a smaller town, you're getting a lot more calls from out of town where they can't make it into the store, or they can't. I'm shopping online. I'm from a bigger center, and I'm shopping to a smaller dealer, so I'm going to chat a lot more. Also, we found that familiarity helped with the chat programs too. So the person that's managing the chat is known in the community, or there was more of an acceptance in a small center for chat than in a large chat center. These are the timing stats we had. So you can see the longer we delayed and the more page views that a consumer looked at, the more successful we were with chat. Of course, we were working with our own product, Really Live People, that allows us to see the timing on it, record the chats, gives us an idea of what pages they're looking at, what page views they've been through. So,
well, that's pretty interesting that, if you waited at least 2 minutes, 120 seconds, that your chat success rate outbound, I assume, it goes up to almost 10%.
Yeah, and if the customer is on the site longer, obviously he's more interested in your product, more interested in the dealership. The more likely he is willing to chat, has questions.
So it's almost like somebody's on your lot, they're looking at a number of different vehicles, and you wait until they land, so to speak, and then you approach them.
Yeah.
Versus jumping on them as soon as they get on the lot.
So if we're taking it up on the lot, we're not running out to the first guy that just pops out of his car. We want to let him settle a little bit.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because if we go running out there too soon, he's going to just jump back in his car and take off again. Right?
Human nature.
So I think the timing is everything. So the longer you wait, the more page views he goes through, the more apt he's willing to chat with you.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Insightful.
Yeah. So we had it managed by several people. In the smaller centers, of course, sometimes we had to get the receptionist to do it. And we had one large dealer who he didn't believe in chat, so he didn't want any of his salespeople wasting time, or his BDC reps wasting time with chat. So what he did is he had the receptionist actually work with chat. The internet sales reps, the floor sales, and offsite. And you can see the success rates there. The most successful was the internet sales rep, who had information, was able to convert a lot better, right, with what was going on. And we considered success where we were able to get a name, phone number, to pass on the lead to the sales department. That was considered a successful chat. It wasn't necessarily an appointment. It was a matter of giving that lead to somebody that could turn that into a bona fide.
What I'm surprised about is your stat there about floor salespeople. The success rate was pretty low.
Yeah, and I think that had a lot to do with the fact that we couldn't get floor people to man it long enough. They're more visual talkers. They like to talk to people, go in front of them.
Right.
And I think that with the floor people, it was really tough for them to kind of sit in one place and just watch chat happen as it was going on.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah.
You know, Vic, I want to answer another chat call that we have, or a comment here, if you don't mind, because we want to answer them as they come in, and we've missed a few of them, so let's get to this one here. This is from Robert, Medicine Hat. Robert says that my chat program doesn't allow me to target any given time. Any advice for Robert?
Well, again, we use our system where we can set timing up on it. We can allow certain pages, or we can allow certain page views, and then a chat goes out. The only thing that I can suggest is to turn your chat program so that it doesn't appear on the screen. Leave it till you can see that the person has been on there for a little bit of time, and then in the dialogue chat box, ask a question that's prevalent to what they're looking at and browsing at, rather than just say, you know, I'm here, can I help you, right? We want to be able to be more targeted with it. So again, you don't want to be out there all the time with the chat box just rolling across the screen. I think that's the worst thing that can happen with chat.
I would have to agree on that one. Yeah. That's my personal opinion. But
talking to some of the customers that we deal with, we find that that's probably their number one annoyance, is the fact that the chat
consumers,
keeps rolling across the screen. So, and the type of the invitation that went out, we had more effective when there wasn't a name like, hi, I'm Bob Smith. I think the whole anonymity thing, when you first go into chat or introduce chat, you can have who's chatting as part of your information, right? On the top, Bob Smith manning chat, and rather than say, hi, my name is Bob Smith, because what you're eliciting is okay, I gave you my name, I want your name. Just go into, you know, I notice you're on my site, you're looking at these vehicles, or you've been on for a while. Is there something that I can actually chat about, or is there something that you're interested in, or whatever? But
so you're saying that it's more effective when you initiate an outbound chat to a potential client that's on your website, not to introduce yourself.
Yeah, not to go out right away and introduce yourself. Try and hang back, and once the chat's accepted, then say, hey, Bob here, and then get into the chat.
And your experience and the stats show that it's more effective to do that.
We're finding that it's more effective to do that.
Yeah, that's good information.
Yeah. So, you know, I watch chat between agents and customers, and if the agent asks right away, if I drop the connection, is there a phone number I can reach you at? I notice that a lot of customers will type in a phone number. And I think that once you have a phone number, this is a good time to either say, you know, listen, the information that you want, I can give you complete data on it. Why don't I phone you and get back to you? Or I'll have somebody on our sales floor contact you back, and we'll go over the information that you're requesting. So it's really important that we get a phone number to call back, and the easiest way to do that, of course, is to ask or let the customer know that if the connection is dropped, can I get a phone number? Can I get an email address?
Yes.
Get some way of contacting that customer back if the call is dropped. So it's really important. So.
Well, we have another question, but it looks like it's very similar to the question that I just asked you. Lyle is asking that, you know, do you recommend not to give the name then?
No, Lyle, I think you have to, but I'm sure it shouldn't be part of the invite, right? So if I was doing outbound chat, sending out an invitation to chat, I think I would be more advantageous to put out there, like, we now have 12 model lines here at 1.9% finance rate. Click here if you're looking for a new vehicle, right? If I see him browsing on the new car pages,
yes,
my invite should be something more along the lines of what he's actually looking at. If I just put it out there, my name is Robert, I'm here to answer your questions, I don't know if he's with the service department, the technical department. So it's always good to have some sort of information going out on your invitation, or on whether it's, you know, something that goes across the screen once that says we're here to talk about this or that, where the customer looks at that and says, yeah, no, I need to talk about that. That's something that I'm interested in. I'm looking at these particular models. That's something I wish that this guy would talk about. So
very good.
I hope that answers your question, Lyle. Again, we're using really live people. The chat program that Autonet Dealer Solutions uses and sells and offers our dealers. So we're not sure what other chat programs do offer and how they're operated on the back end. Again, all we know about is pretty much our own system because we're so familiar with it, right? So there's some benefits to the customer by using chat, and this is why it's becoming more and more popular. Number one, you don't have to stay on hold and listen to the elevator music while you're waiting for an agent to answer the phone, right?
Yes.
So you can go on.
We lost our screen here. My apologies. That was completely my fault. Is that what we were on?
No, one before that.
One before that?
Yeah.
There we go. Is that it?
One more.
One more.
So the customer can continue browsing inventory. He can wait. There's a sound that comes up. Ours is a little bell. Says, okay, I'm ready to chat now, right? Or, but it's not where the browser has to have a phone and delay the browsing session that he's on right at that particular time, right? So we're finding that's one of the benefits that we hear from the clients all the time, that they prefer to use chat because it's not so intrusive to their day and their browsing experience. The other thing is I don't know if you've been on a phone call and the first thing you hear is this call may be recorded.
Yes.
and I don't know about you, but when I hear that, I kind of say, okay, I got to watch what I say because I'm not going to see what I said later, right?
Yeah.
With chat, at least with our program, and again, I'm not sure about anybody else's, we mail out a copy of the chat to both the consumer and to the agent.
Right.
So the dealership can see what happened in the chat, and so can the consumer. Now, the benefit of that, of course, is the consumer can see what was discussed. We can see that no promises were made, or maybe there were promises made, but something that took place is now recorded, and the customer also has that. So
it's a transcript.
It's a transcript of the whole chat process, and we find that that's a really strong customer benefit.
Yes.
And I think that most customers, when they receive that, would look at that as saying this dealer really cares about my privacy and what I've said, and I have it all recorded to exactly.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And the other thing I find is a real good benefit to live chat is the fact that if the agent is set up so that they have everything in their fingertips, that they can answer the questions, whether it's service related, parts related, and sales related, that consumer really looks at that as a benefit, that there's somebody there, they're looking after me right away, they're making sure that I have the information in front of me. So to a consumer, that's a huge benefit. I hate when I phone into a car dealership, they put me on hold, they transfer me over to another department because I need to get my car in for servicing, or I'm looking for a part or some information, and I get a recording saying, Bob is on the phone already, please, leave a message or whatever, right? And then I have to go back to my busy day. Mm-hmm. It would be nice if there wasn't an agent available that it popped up saying, just leave a message and we'll get right back to you right on the chat program. Right. So,
I have to agree with your statement that, consumers today have become extremely demanding, and I'm a demanding consumer as well. If I can't get a hold of somebody and I hit on the live chat, I'm expecting somebody to be there right there on that particular spot to answer my questions.
Yes.
So it's instant, right? And I think that, honestly, anytime that I've actually used it, I've had a very good experience personally. So I think that adds to the brand. The brand gives a good consumer experience when they have the ability to respond immediately to any questions that they have. Because in a competitive market today, and you need to be better than your competition and faster than your competition, especially when it comes to answering questions that may be towards purchasing, a large investment such as an automobile.
Yeah, and I think that today the consumer judges a business on the kind of service he gets, the quickness, the thoroughness, the ability, the
professionalism.
Yeah, absolutely, no question. So one of the things that I want to talk about is the relevance of chat. So when we talked before, my invitation has to be something that the customer or the consumer is interested in, not can I help you. If he's looking at the used car page, I want to send out a chat that's relevant to that used car page. Now again, I'm using Really Live People where I can actually see the pages that he's on. I can actually click on the link and look at the page and browse with him if I wanted to. So if he's on that page, I want to send out a chat that's relevant to what he's browsing at.
And you can see how long they've been on that page or that particular item?
Yeah.
You can. Makes sense.
So I can see that he's gone through 6 pages. He's been on this particular section of my website for 6 minutes. He's probably ready to...
Looking at every picture, looking at every spec.
Yeah, no. They're all like you, pretty much. Yeah. If a customer is browsing a specific model, I could send out a message. So if he's been on the Fusions or a vehicle that, pardon me just for a second, that he's looking at, you can actually click through to him and send out an invitation telling him that there's special promos on that particular vehicle, that that he should be talking to you about the 1.9 that maybe they're offering, or the loyalty programs that are being afforded on the program. And the beauty with our chat, and again, it's the only chat program that I know very well, is once I've got a name, once he types in a name, that name now is connected to his ID. So when he comes back on the site, I can actually see him on the site. And we'll get into that a little bit later on as we get into the presentation. But the main thing right here is that we send out invitations that are relevant to what the browser is looking at. So,
well, I mean, what are your thoughts in regards to invasion of privacy? Is it, in this, what's consumers' perception today of looking at, somebody pops up and realize, oh my God, somebody's been tracking me, so to speak.
Well, I think any time you see a pop-up at the beginning of a browsing session that says, can this website is tracking your progress through the site. Are you okay with that? And it allow the browsing and the tracking that happens. I think in today's society, we're expecting some sort of recording of our browsing history, and even though we like to say we're a completely anonymous society, obviously there's certain things that we target, and we make sure that consumers get the best experience possible. And I look at this as a customer experience where I want to be able to offer my customers as much information about my product that I have available, and I want to be able to target him if he's looking at that product to make sure that he gets that information.
Gotcha.
So
even if I clear my cache or or go incognito mode or something like that, they can still see me?
Yes, because it's a web-based browser, so we don't use cookie tracking and that kind of stuff. We do web-based browsing altogether.
Gotcha. Okay.
Again, service and finance is something that is important to a dealership. It's probably when a customer gets to the credit department, that's their closing statement saying, okay, I'm ready to buy. I wonder if there's terms or conditions that I should know about before I take one more step and apply for finance.
Yes.
So again, we can target that consumer and let them know that we're there to help them. We can help with the finance process. We can get a number so that we can get our specialist to phone back and do a private one-on-one. We offer quick turnaround times, but we want to be able to offer our customer that strategy where we're available to help him with his finance needs also. And we want to, as a dealership, be prepared for that, because the most important thing that a consumer does before he actually purchases, of course, is the finance end of it. And that's probably over 80% of consumers are now financing their vehicles. We want to be able to give you promos. If we're going to run a promo for a week, we want to be able to create that promo and be able to offer it to our consumers. Again, we have a sister program that goes along with Really Live People called ad-o-matic, and that serves up little chat invitations, but they're images, and my feeling is an image is worth 1,000 words. So if I put up an image and say, your car is worth $2,000, I don't care what it is, click here to register or something so that they would contact you, then you can give them all the information about the promo that you're having, get some information. Maybe they want to get pre-approved before they come in with the push, pull, and drag. So I want to make sure that everything is offered to them, and my chat program can do that for me.
And when would you serve that out to a potential customer on your website?
I think what I would do, especially on this particular one, I would make sure they're in a particular vehicle. I know that their main interest is now on new or used, and I could actually send this out. The promo may not be the push, pull, and drag sale. It may be the loyalty program,
right?
Where if you own a Chev, here's what we have as far as GM's loyalty program. We may want to serve it. We know who the person was from browsing sessions before. Could be a student. We could say, oh, did I talk to you about our university grad program?
So, but you're talking about, I'm a customer, I'm on your website, I've spent maybe 10 minutes, I'm now surfing, I've gone to a couple of vehicles, and now spend maybe 5 to 7 minutes over there. Can you serve me up an ad that's relevant to what I'm looking at?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I can serve up an ad automated to you if you're on a particular vehicle or on a particular web page or browsing time, and I could just be manning it, but this would be automatically served to you. I don't have to create it. I don't have to serve it. It would be automatically there, and I could actually send that invitation.
So the ad is a special offer based on the fact that I'm looking at a specific vehicle. Yeah. With what end goal?
My end goal, of course, would be that you would click on that to get more information on how you can complete that deal, how you can
to generate a lead.
Get a phone number, get some sort of relevance, maybe even create an appointment so that I can give that to my sales department and they would create a sales.
So what you're doing is taking that initial customer who's browsing and turning it into a qualified lead, really.
Yes. Yeah. And the beauty with our system, and again, I'm expounding on it because it's so flexible, I can actually send this to third-party websites. So if somebody's browsing a third-party website, looking at a piece of my inventory, I can have a special message pop up on that one saying, talk to me now.
Cool.
This is what we're offering. And I can do it as a geolocation where it would pop up on Automatic if it's out of town saying, today's for our out-of-town guests or out-of-town.
We'll pay for your gas.
We'll pay for your gas. We'll pay for your hotel room,
cool.
Right?
Yeah, so that's a pretty strong incentive.
Pay for dinner as long as it's not too expensive.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. We can also work with part specials that we can send up and tell our customers that, there's a winter special on tires where if you buy 3, you get 1, or click here, talk to an agent, get a name, book an appointment.
Yes.
So we can increase our service appointment rate, and we can increase our parts sales rate just simply by being able to reach customers' demands on it, right? So I think that if you target it with specific offers, it's better than saying, can I help you? Mm-hmm. Can I help you is too generic. We want to be able to target them if they're on the parts page or whatever.
Gotcha.
So we're going to do the numbers again using the chat program, using the numbers that we saw with our chat program and all the information we got. So we're going to go through that 3,000 unique visitors on a 30-day period. We're manning chat 160 hours per month. That's 8 hours a day only.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is dealers are now becoming so aware of chat that they have actually 2 shifts of chat on, one in the morning and one until 9 o'clock at night, or 8 o'clock at night when the dealership closes. And we're sending out 1,466 invitations. So half our customers are getting an invitation. So without chat, you can see where the leads are lying, right? And we can see the sales results and where they lie. So we can increase all the way through and increase whether it's appointments, leads, sales. And it's really important that we're aware that being able to get in front of a customer rather than waiting for him to click on a lead form is so very important today.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah. I'll spend a minute on Chatikit, and we call this Chatikit because it's a variation of Netiquette, and We want to be able to make sure that we're not rude, we don't use our caps, and we make sure that we use their name a lot. Don't use sarcasm. Sarcasm doesn't come across. Really? That car? It doesn't come across very good. So you want to make sure that you follow good chat etiquette. Some of the 6 biggest live chat mistakes, we're just focusing on inbound. We're waiting for somebody to contact us. We can't assume that chat is an intrusion. We have to send chat invitations out there, but we have to time them properly, right?
Is there some top-level stats in regards to effectiveness of inbound versus outbound?
Yeah, well, again, with our system, we do both inbound chats and outbound chats, and we give you success rates. Of course, inbound chats are 100%, where I've got
somebody's asking a question.
Yeah, and we're going to be able to answer 100 of them. Our outbounds, of course, have a lower success rate, but the fact is that when we send out outbound chats and targeting, we're making sure that the consumers that we're targeting probably would be ready to chat by the time we send out that targeted invitation. The thing that I get asked the most, or actually told the most, is I had my guy try chat. He was on it for a month, didn't have that much success, so we dropped it. There's nothing worse than for a consumer where they are used to a site and they see chat coming up. They didn't chat on it the first time. Next time they're on there, they're ready for the chat program, and it's not there anymore. You've got to be able to dedicate yourself for a good period of time. Try different things with your chat programs. Make sure that the right people are in place.
Because you do get feedbacks.
Yeah, and it's really important that you do a good overall deep data check to make sure that everything, the successful chats are happening this time, using this invitation, making sure that everything's in place, because if you don't, it's not going to be successful, obviously. So give it a good time, make sure that you look at your data, make sure that you're doing everything right, and be proactive with it. So the other worst thing, of course, is when you're chatting to somebody and then you're multitasking and you leave the guy hanging. 30 seconds on a chat call is a long time. That customer either feels that they've been disconnected or that you're really busy in the background. So try not to leave big gaps. If you're going to have to get information out there, it's good every 10 seconds to say I'm here, or have something where a sound is coming up, like a bleep or whatever, so they know that you're still there and you're still connected.
What do you mean by not reviewing deep data?
Well, making sure that you're reviewing the fact that your chats were more successful at 2 minutes, not at a minute and 10 seconds. Okay. Making sure that the invite was targeted. Making sure that the person that was doing the messaging was doing a proper job on it. So,
gotcha.
So the good thing about targeting and being able to get information from the consumer and tagging it on your chats is when we're collaborating with sales and I give a lead over to our salesperson, that our chat support person can talk to the consumer, of course, sees them on the website. He's looking at a particular vehicle. You've had a chat with him. We can track, and then we can get back to the salesman who originally talked to that consumer, who we turn that consumer off, and let him know he's been back on the lot and that he's been looking at different vehicles and that it's between maybe a couple of these, and then I can receive another alert because he's changed a vehicle, right? And then I can get my customer working with the salesman again, and then I can actually get the salesman and the customer back together with the new information that our system gave to the chat.
Just want to add something. Being respectful of your time, we have maybe 50 to 60 questions, and unfortunately we would run out of time. So we promise we will answer all your chat questions, as we're recording all of them as well, after our live webcast has completed. Thank you.
So one of the things that we need to know when we're doing chat, of course, is the easy stuff, which is right up on the top of the chat list, like name, phone number, vehicle of interest. But what we have to dig deeper for are certain things, right? Have they stopped in after hours to look at a vehicle? So if they're on a vehicle and they're looking at it, one of the things we can ask them, even as an invitation, hi, I noticed you're browsing our site. Have you been looking at these vehicles on our site? Is there a particular vehicle that you looked at after hours on our site, or have you been on our site before? Are you dealing with a salesperson, right? And which vehicles are on the customer short list? So if he's looking at 3 of them, I can actually have a better understanding of what his competitive needs are, so that I can actually have information available, so that I can go back to him and say, okay, you were looking at these vehicles. This is how much better than they are on these other particular vehicles through our competitors.
Gotcha.
And the finance is a concern. I can send out finance invitations. I notice you're browsing your site. You're on this particular vehicle. It's on for 1.9. We have our 30-second approval process in place. Would you like to apply now, or would you like us to have an agent call you?
Yeah.
And we want to hit this on our chat. You know what? A lot of people are afraid to go this part, but sooner or later, we're going to have to talk numbers with this consumer. I, myself, when I'm talking to a consumer, I want to bring up financials right away. Is there a price range you're looking at? Once I know and I've got to a vehicle, I want to be able to go, is there a price range? Is there a payment range? Is there a trade-in available, right? Can I appraise your trade? We have a specialist on site right now that can appraise it while we're on chat, right? This could all be part of my invitations if I wanted to, but these are things that I want to talk about on my chat.
Gotcha.
I don't want the customer to get away until I've asked those questions.
Sure.
And what else are they searching for on the internet? So I want to know if there's any other competitor vehicles. They may be looking at a truck because they're dreaming about them owning this truck, but really they're there looking for a four-door sedan or a sports car for their wife or their daughter or whatever, right? So you want to be able to get these answers, and some of it can be easily gotten by asking if there's anything else they're looking at.
Sure.
Right? So how traditional chat works is, like in most dealerships, I have to click on something to a chat agent. The chat agent offers some advice to the consumer, whether it's on a vehicle or service or whatever, and I serve it back up to the consumer.
Right.
What I want to be able to do on outbound chat is see the customer on the site, be able to send out an invitation about something, then offer the vehicle, then be able to offer it to my consumer. Get the information, and we find that increases our penetration of chat a whole bunch more. Factors that influence chat, I think that it's really important that we adhere to the amount of chat that we send out, make sure that it's not overpowering. We want to make sure that the right person is on the chat. We want to make sure that the customer wasn't on our site talking to somebody, and that we don't go back out there and start all over again. Mm-hmm. We identify the number. Again, I'm using our system where it'll see his IP address. It'll use that IP address and say that this person is back again. So I'm thinking that happens with a lot of the chat programs out there. And again, we want to make sure that we implement a chat strategy within our sales department. Make sure that the website is set up for high-value chats. We don't want to leave anything on the table, and that we make sure that chat is on our dealership while the dealership is open at all times.
So this is how you become more effective. You need to have a strategy, a chat strategy.
Yeah,
at the dealership.
Absolutely. And our phone number here is 1-866-955-2255.